Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, thumma amma ba'd. To proceed. So today we will go over the rest of Bab al-Muharramat fi nikah, or the chapter on unmarriageable women. Unmarriageable women. And remember last time we talked about the permanent prohibitions, and we drew this diagram where we had the woman as the index case in the middle, and then we tried to figure out who will not be marriageable to her. So we will not repeat this, because otherwise we can't just get stuck there. We will move on, but I hope that it is clear, that diagram is clear in your minds. I hope the diagram is clear in your minds. Now, the permanent prohibitions, as I say in the document that I sent to you, the permanent prohibitions are caused by one of four causes: consanguinity, which is al-nasab, marriage, al-musahara, breastfeeding, al-rada, and li'an. We talked about consanguinity, and that was the diagram. We talked about the marriage. We included it also in the diagrams. So stepson, stepson, stepfather, father-in-law, son-in-law. Four, that are prohibited because of musahara or marriage. Then we talked about breastfeeding briefly, and we will come back to breastfeeding in the next chapter. But when we talked about breastfeeding, we said the Prophet ﷺ said, يَحْرُمُ مِنَ الرَّضَاءِ مَا يَحْرُمُ مِنَ النَّسَبِ. Whatever is prohibited through marriage, through consanguinity, will be prohibited through rada as well. So rada is like marriage, is like consanguinity. I told you that in order for you to get this right, breastfeeding, imagine that the baby that was breastfed was transplanted into the new family, not vice versa. The mother was not transplanted into the baby's, the milk mother was not transplanted into the baby's family. The baby was transplanted, the milk son was transplanted into the mother's family. And then you'll go from there. Breastfeeding applies to marriage as well. Yes, according to the vast majority. Some said no, it doesn't, like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, but the vast majority said it does apply, meaning that the mother, so the woman who breastfed your wife, for instance, the woman who breastfed your wife, is this haram? Yeah, and all the four prohibitions that arise from marriage arise from breastfeeding as well. So li'an is the fourth one. Li'an is the fourth one. Now with li'an, you have, so you know what li'an is? It's called public imprecation. Sometimes it's translated as mutual invocation of curses. Mutual invocation of curses would be the more literal translation of it. It is mutual invocation of curses. So when a man accuses his wife of adultery, he has to basically take 5 oaths that she did commit, the sin, and the fifth oath would be invoking a curse on himself if he was a liar, or if he were a liar. Now this is li'an. After li'an, according to the Malikis, Shafi'is, and Hanbalis, Malikis, Shafi'is, and Hanbalis, she becomes permanently prohibited to him. The Hanafis said if he goes back and belies himself, or denies the accusation, recants, takes it back, then it will be permissible for him. The majority said no, she's permanently forbidden, whether he goes back or does not go back. Now, all of them agreed that a daughter that he denied through li'an will be forbidden for him permanently. Because li'an is when you not only accuse the wife of adultery, but li'an also could be done to deny the paternity of your son or daughter. If you deny the paternity of your daughter through li'an, she will be permanently forbidden to you according to the 4 Imams. So these are the prohibitions that result from li'an, and they are permanent prohibitions as we discussed. We're done now with the permanent prohibitions. What are the 4 causes of permanent prohibition? Nasab, consanguinity. Marriage, musahara. Breastfeeding, rada. Li'an. Okay. So when it comes to the temporary prohibitions, the first temporary prohibition that would come to mind is the iddah, for sure, the waiting period, because a woman cannot marry in her waiting period. Well, certainly being married for the woman, she can't get married again temporarily, but if she is in iddah, she cannot get married while she is in iddah until the iddah is over. And we talked about proposing to a woman in iddah before and so on. So she can't get married in her iddah. That's for the woman. What about the man? Does the iddah apply to the man? In some sense it does. If he's married to 4 women, he cannot get married to a 5th even after divorcing one of them until her iddah is over. That is coming later. We will talk about co-referee later. He has to wait for the iddah. Yes. So the idea here is, now this is for sure according to all of them, if this was an unfinalized divorce. What if it is a finalized divorce? Finalized divorce. Do you need to wait? Like you had 4 women, you divorced one of them, and it is a finalized divorce. Finalized divorce does not mean after the iddah, because now we're talking about being in the iddah. So finalized divorce in this sense means that you can't take her back. She's not raj'iyya. Let us say you divorced her the 3rd time. This is a finalized divorce. You cannot take her back. Can you now go out and marry another one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, no, according to the Hanbalis and Hanafis, and if you do this, you gotta be careful because you could go to jail if the laws in your country are Hanbali or Hanafi, because you would be combining between 5 women at a time. And that's actually, if you're from Egypt, there was like a famous case, Tawheed al-Nur, if you know the owner of Tawheed al-Nur. Yeah, that was his case. So he was like a practicing guy, but he also had like, I don't know how many marriages, like 70-some marriages or like 80-some marriages. So he was not wasting any time. So he divorced one of his wives. He had 4. He divorced one of his wives, and then he wanted to marry her. يحسن نفسه يعني. So he wanted to marry. So he went to a Shafi'i sheikh and asked him, and the Shafi'i said to him, "That's fine. We're Hanafi in Egypt, formally, officially. So the laws in Egypt are Hanafi." So he went to jail because it was in the eyes of the law, and that's why you have to be careful, because there has to be a law of the land, and so in the eyes of the law, it doesn't matter whether he went to. So if it was a finalized divorce and the man wanted to get married, he will have to wait according to the Hanafis and Hanbalis. He does not have to wait according to the Malikis and Shafi'is. But you have to be, and it is actually safer just to wait. If you have like 3 others, like what is the rush?
How long do you wait for?
Until her idda ends.
But why? If it's banned, it's not the last one. What's the reason for that? What's the logic for that? If there is no raj'i, so why?
Because it is still, there are still laws that apply, to this phase, which is the idda phase. There are still laws that apply even if it is not. Yes, they cannot come back, but she is still unable to marry.
That's her problem, not his. It applies to him, to her, not to him. The idea is for the woman, not for the man.
But there is a woman that is kept from marriage because of him. So he is not, well, you could be Shafi'i, that's fine if you want. So but anyway, but in the Hanafi and Hanbali sense, she is not released from the bond of the marriage yet. He should not be released to get married to another woman. Yes.
If it's the third divorce, doesn't she not have idda?
Yes, she does.
She does, of course, have idda.
Third divorce.
She has idda. Everybody has to have idda. She's just going to go and marry another one. Yeah. So then these are the sort of the cause number 1 and cause number 2 when it comes to temporary prohibitions. Cause number 3 when it comes to temporary prohibition is this belief. This belief. So a Muslim man can only marry a Christian, Muslim Christian or Jewish woman. Muslim man can only marry a Muslim, Jewish, or Christian woman, and that is by agreement in the land of Islam. Outside of the land of Islam, there is controversy, and there is a very strong position that it is not permissible because of the consequences. Particularly, two issues have been mentioned. One, it will disturb the sort of the proportionality between men and women, Muslim men and Muslim women, and if Muslim men married non-Muslim women, Muslim women would not have Muslim men to marry, and that is a concern that Umar radiallahu anhu mentioned when Abu Musa al-Ash'ari wanted to marry a Kitabiyya. Umar mentioned that if you do this, then the Muslim women will have no one to marry. وأي فتنة لنساء المسلمين أعظم من ذلك? What fitna could be greater than this to the Muslim women? And then the other cause is the fact that they will يغلبونه على ولده, that they will basically take his child away from him, particularly in the case of disputation, and then they will convert them into their own respective religions. So that was a very strong position that I personally uphold. Does that mean that the marriage is invalid? Absolutely not. It means that it is impermissible, but the marriage is a valid marriage. The marriage is a valid marriage, but it is an impermissible marriage. You earn a sin, but the marriage is a valid marriage. So it's not marriage, it's marriage. Huh? It is an opinion in the madhab, yes. An opinion in the madhab. In fact, in the Hanbali authorized position, the Muslim who is in Dar al-Harb, and that is, at the end of the day, the division, and I do say this, and I do write this in the book, that the division of the world into Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb is not a sustainable division anymore. There is Dar al-Sulh, which is basically the whole world is the land of reconciliation or the land of treaty, the land of covenant, the land of peace, the land of whatever, based on the UN Charter and the conventions and so on that Muslim countries are signatories to. So that division is not applicable anymore, but the Hanbali said that it would not be permissible for a Muslim man to marry in Dar al-Harb, period. Unless they have sort of like, they can't handle it and they're fearful from fitna, then they can marry. So this belief is one of the positions. This belief is a temporary for the Muslim man. For the Muslim woman, she is barred from marrying anyone who's not Muslim. So there are no exceptions. Like a Muslim man cannot marry, other than Muslim, Christian, or Jew. A Muslim woman cannot marry other than Muslim and Muslim only. So this belief. Then the issue of zina, the issue of chastity. The issue of chastity is in the Hanbali madhab, the authorized position in the Hanbali madhab. Muslim men cannot marry an unchaste woman. And in the non-authorized position in the madhab, which was chosen by Ibn Taymiyyah, the reverse is true as well. Muslim women cannot marry an unchaste man. The reverse is true as well. But that's not the authorized position in the Hanbali madhab. That's a position in the madhab chosen by Ibn Taymiyyah, that also for Muslim women, they cannot marry an unchaste man. But the authorized position in the Hanbali madhab is that a Muslim man cannot marry an unchaste woman. And hadith of Marsad, where the Prophet ﷺ said that where it was, the ayat in Surah An-Nur about الزاني والزانية الزاني لا ينكح زانية الزاني لا ينكح إلا زانية أو مشركة والزانية لا ينكحها إلا زان أو مشرك وحرم ذلك على المؤمنين. These verses were revealed when Marsad asked the Prophet ﷺ if he can marry a woman that he used to know from the past. So she was she was not a chaste woman that he used to know in the past, but he loved her and so on. And this ayah was revealed. So this ayah may be, based on this context, may be used to support the Hanbali position that you cannot marry an unchaste woman. The Prophet ﷺ was approached by another man who said, "Inna imra'ati la tamna'u yada lamis," my wife does not basically deny any, it means that it does not deny the hand of anyone who wants to touch her, which meant that she is not chaste. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Gharribha," which means talliqha, which means divorce her. And the man said, "La asbir, akhsha la asbir alayha," I fear that I cannot take it. He loved her, I guess. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him, "Keep her then." If that's the case, I guess. So that was used by the majority to say that it is not impermissible to marry an unchaste woman. So the majority, that's the Hanafis, Malikis, and Shafi'is, consider it permissible to marry an unchaste woman. We'll have the questions and answers, unless it's disambiguation, meaning that there is something confusing. But if there are comments or objections, we will take all the objections. And I'm sure that there will be a lot of objections coming from it. But anyway, so that is the concept of chastity. The concept of chastity does not cause a temporary prohibition for the majority. It is only a problem for the Hanbalis. So the Hanbalis will say that a man may not marry an unchaste woman, and there is a position in the madhab chosen by Ibn Taymiyyah that says the reverse is true as well. A woman may not marry an unchaste man. Then the co-wifery is what is left in this list of temporary prohibitions. The co-wifery is what is left in this list of temporary prohibitions, and that's what the Shaykh will start with here. He says, فصل ويحرم الجمع بين الأختين وبين المرأة وعمتها وخالتها لقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يجمع بين المرأة وعمتها ولا بينها وبين خالتها. Subsection: it is forbidden to have a woman and her sister or a woman and her aunt or aunt, paternal or maternal, as co-wives. This is because the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there should be no combining as co-wives. A woman with combining as co-wives, a woman with her paternal or maternal aunt, paternal and maternal aunt. Well, he did not say the sisters, the dalil or the proof on the sisters, because it's an ayah in the Quran. But and to combine between the two sisters, except for that which was in the past. But the dalil from the Sunnah on the prohibition of combining between a woman and her aunt, whether maternal or paternal, is لا تجمع أو لا يجمع بين المرأة وعمتها ولا بينها وبين خالتها, which means there should be no combining as co-wives a woman with her paternal or maternal aunt. And this hadith is an interesting hadith because there are a myriad of issues that are discussed, because of this hadith. It may be used by the good Jumhur, that's the Maliki, Shafi'is, and Hanbalis, against the Hanafis, to say that the Sunnah specifies the Quran because this particular hadith specified from the generality everything beyond this has been made permissible for you after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned after Allah mentioned all the prohibitions in marriage, and he said everything beyond this is permissible. This hadith said not everything. You cannot marry a woman and her aunt at the same time. So that is called تخصيص العموم, تخصيص السنة لعموم القرآن. That is the Sunnah specifying the generality of the Quran, and that's the madhab according to the Malikis, Shafi'is, and Hanbalis. It is not the madhab according to the Hanafis, although they would not outright reject it, but they have stringent criteria for this exercise to be valid, but they would not outright reject it. They just have stringent criteria to validate this exercise of specifying the generality of the Quran by the Sunnah. So this hadith was used in this regard. This hadith also is used to establish that the Sunnah does not only corroborate and explain the Quran, but it adds legislations that are not present in the Quran. So, but the disagreement between the people concerning this is a disagreement of technicality, not a disagreement of substance, because at the end of the day, all of them say that you cannot combine between a woman and her aunt. They're not disagreeing over this. They are disagreeing whether this is a legislation that the Sunnah added, or a legislation that the Quran also had because the Quran hinted to it. How did it hint to it? وَأَن تَجْمَعَ بَيْنَ الْأُخْتَيْنِ إِلَّا مَا قَدْ سَلَفَ, and that you do not combine between two sisters. So the Quran is hinting here to something, and the Prophet ﷺ is establishing another detail of the ruling on the basis of the Quranic prohibition of combining between a woman and her sister. So it's a disagreement of technicality more than a disagreement of substance. But at the end of the day, to me at least, it is not clear that if you can't combine between the two sisters, it would not be clear that you cannot combine between. Had the Sunnah not mentioned it, it would have not been sort of a straightforward qiyas. The fuqaha may have not been able to figure it out, that you should not combine between a woman and her aunt, whether it is paternal or maternal. Therefore, to me, it establishes that the Sunnah does add to the rulings of the Quran, just like al-Humur al-Ahliya, domestic donkeys, the prohibition of eating domestic donkeys, and like a genre of rulings that are only established in the Sunnah. Well, domestic donkeys, how do they say, the people who say that the Sunnah does not add, they say it is in the Quran, يُحِلُّ اللَّهُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, that He makes wholesome things halal for them and unwholesome things haram for them, and He identified for us that this is not from a tayyibat. So that's what they say anyway, but it's like I said, a disagreement, like just in technicality, not in substance. Now, the idea here is that I want you to remember like a legal maxim when it comes to these prohibitions of combining women in one marriage. I want you to remember a legal maxim that will make things easy for you, because it is not limited to these two scenarios where you combine between two sisters or you combine between a woman and her aunt, whether paternal or maternal. Actually, what you want to remember is if one of the two women were a man and they cannot marry each other, you cannot combine between them in a marriage. So two women that are maternal aunts of each other, two women that are paternal aunts of each other, two women where one of them is the maternal aunt of the other, and the second is the paternal aunt of the first. Can you imagine those scenarios? Okay. Can you imagine the scenario where two women are the maternal aunts of each other? Two women, each one of them is the maternal aunt of the other. How? Okay. So let us say you have a man here, and the man has a daughter. And you have another man here, and he has a daughter. And this man married the daughter of this man. This man married the daughter of this man. And these two had a daughter here, and these two had a daughter here. Okay, these two daughters are the maternal aunts of each other, because this daughter here, this girl here, is the daughter of this man. This girl here is the daughter of this man. They are sisters, paternal sisters. Then this daughter and this daughter are what? Sisters. These are sisters. So this would be the maternal aunt of this, because this is the daughter of this woman. What? It's very easy. No, كل واحدة خالة التانية. دي خالة دي ودي خالة دي. Guys, okay, 1 second. This man had a daughter. This man had a daughter. They're not related. Okay. So he went to tell him, keep in mind, sometimes al-Fiqh wants to give rulings for people. Al-Fiqh is not telling the people go and marry. No, al-Fiqh is saying, well, if you do this, then this would be the case. So and that is something like people are really unfair, because when they read sort of awkward scenarios in the books of fiqh, as if the mashayikh were telling the people just do. No, they're saying, well, if you do this, then this is what the case is, and this is what the ruling is. So anyway, so this man wanted to marry this girl, the daughter of this man. He told him, that's fine, but I want to marry your daughter as well, so we will sort of. But if it is a swap in the sense of dropping the mahr, then it is haram, because that's nikah shigar, when you drop the mahr for the swap marriage. But if everybody gets their own mahr and everything is working, and one marriage is not a condition in the other marriage. It's not like I will not marry you this until you no. They're just completely fine with it. They just wanted to get married. This man married the daughter of this man. This man married the daughter of this man. Each one of them had a daughter. This daughter, so this man married this girl, okay? They had a daughter, right? Now,
There are two
this daughter and this daughter, aren't they sisters?
Yes.
Okay, so now, this daughter is the daughter of this woman. So isn't this her maternal aunt, her khala? Yes. The same the other way. So this man married this woman, and then they had this daughter. This daughter is the daughter of which man? This man. This one is the daughter of which man? This man. This woman and this woman are sisters? So this one is the maternal aunt of this one. Both of them are the maternal aunts of each other. It's very simple. You can go try it. Okay, so how could they be the amma of each other, the paternal aunt of each other? It's very simple. This man here has a mother. This man here has a mother. This man married the mother of this man. This man married the mother of this man. They had a daughter. Okay? Okay, now they married not each other's daughters, but they married each other's mothers. So they had a daughter and they had a daughter. This daughter here, how is she related to this man? His sister. How would she be related to this woman who is the daughter of this man? Her paternal aunt. The sister of her father. Okay. Now, the opposite is true. This girl here, how is she related to this man? His sister. Then how would she be related to this? Her paternal aunt. She is the sister of her father. So you have the scenario where two women would be the paternal aunts of each other if two men married each other's mothers. And so can you have a scenario where one woman would be the paternal aunt of the other and the second would be the maternal aunt of the first? Yes. So this man had a son, and this woman had a daughter. This man, we have 1 hour to discuss all of your objections. Okay. So this man had a son. This woman had a daughter. This man married. This father married this daughter. This son married this mother. Is it possible? Logically, it is possible. This could be 40 years old. This could be 20 years old. This could be 40 years old. This could be 20 years old. Are there sort of cutoffs on age and marriage in Islam? No. Like a 20-year-old man can marry a 40-year-old woman, and vice versa. So now, this man married this mother, and his father married her daughter. They had 2 daughters. Now, this daughter, how is she related to this man? His sister. So how is she related to this girl? Her paternal aunt. Okay, this daughter here, how is she related to this woman? Her sister, because this is their mother, so they are maternal sisters. Then how is she related to this girl? Her maternal aunt. This is the paternal aunt of this. This is the maternal aunt of this. Now, can they marry each other? No. Can the two? Can they marry each other? If one of them, like I said before, if one of them is a boy, is a man, Can they marry each other? No, because you can neither marry your aunt, paternal aunt or maternal aunt. Can the previous scenarios marry each other? No, you cannot combine between these two. If they cannot marry each other, you cannot combine between them. And then the Sheikh says, so what is the rule here? The rule is, if the two women that you want to combine in one marriage, you're probably not doing anything, guys. We're just, this is the fiqh that we're teaching it, but you're probably not going to. It would be good if you would marry the first time. So these two women that you are combining, if one of them were a man, you will have to ask whether they can marry each other. If they cannot marry each other, you cannot have them, you cannot combine them. Then the Shaykh said, وَلَا يَجُوزُ لِلْحُرِّ أَنْ يَجْمَعَ بَيْنَ أَكْثَرٍ مِنْ أَرْبَعِ نِسْوَةٍ وَلَا لِلْعَبْدِ أَنْ يَجْمَعَ إِلَّا اثْنَتَيْنِ. It is not permitted for a free man to have more than 4 wives simultaneously, or for a slave to have more than 2. Well, that's obvious. فإن جمع بين من لا يجوز الجمع بينه في عقد واحد فسد وإن كان في عقدين لم يصح الثاني منهما. If a man simultaneously marries 2 women who are unlawful to combine in one contract, the contract becomes void. If he does that in 2 contracts, the latter of them is void. Obvious. So he wanted to marry 2 sisters in one contract. That contract is valid. He's not married to either one. Is invalid. So he's not married to either one of them. He wanted to marry 2 sisters. He had 2 successive contracts, one after the other. First one will be valid, the second one will be invalid. Then the Shaykh said, وَلَوْ أَسْلَمَ كَافِرْ وَتَحْتَهُ أُخْتَانِ اخْتَارَ مِنْهُمَا وَاحِدًا. If a man accepts Islam while already being married to 2 sisters, he must choose one of them to keep as a wife. Ghaylan al-Thaqafi, when he became Muslim, and this hadith, although it's controversial in Isnad, but it is accepted among the fuqaha, and the meaning of the implication of it is accepted. He had 10 wives, and the Prophet ﷺ asked him to keep 4 out of the 10 and to release 6 of them. But he allowed him to choose which 4 he wants to keep. Had he done this after being a Muslim, he would not have been allowed to choose. He would have been able to keep the first 4, and then anything beyond this would be invalid. But since his marriages happened before Islam, we accept all the marriages that happened before Islam, regardless of how they happened, technicalities, and so on. And that is something to learn also. This is a proof that we accept the marriages that happened before Islam, even if they don't meet conditions, our conditions. They're considered marriages in their own culture, in their own deen and stuff. But then after Islam, you cannot keep 10 women. So he will have to choose. That's an important difference here. And then, so if he became Muslim and he had 2 sisters, married to 2 sisters, he will have to release 1. وإن كانت أما وبنتا ولم يدخل بالأم فسد نكاحها وحدها وإن كان قد دخل بها فسد نكاحهما وحرمتا على التأبيد. If his co-wives, are a mother and a daughter, and he has not entered on the mother, then the mother's marriage alone becomes void. Why? Because once he marries her daughter, once he finalizes the contract with her daughter, she becomes a haram to him, not the opposite. If he was married to her, then he would have to consummate the marriage with her before her daughter becomes a haram to him. So if the co-wives are a mother and a daughter, and he has not entered on the mother, then the mother's marriage alone becomes void. If he has entered on the mother, then both of their marriages become void, and they both become forever unmarriageable for him. They both become forever unmarriageable for him. وإن أسلم وتحته أكثر من 4 أمسك منهن 4 وفارق سائرهن سواء كان من أمسك منهن أول من عقد عليها أو آخرهن وكذلك إذا أسلم العبد وتحته أكثر من 2. If he accepts Islam while already being married to more than 4 women, 4. We're coming to the 2 now. More than 4 women, he may keep only 4 of them and must separate from the rest. Hadith Ghaylan ibn Salam al-Thaqafi. It is fine whether he keeps the one he married first or last, because that was before Islam. Had it happened be after Islam, the first would be valid, the second would not be, or after the first 4 would be valid, afterwards it would not. The same applies to a slave who accepts Islam while being married to more than 2 women. He will have to divorce the rest. ومن طلق امرأة فنكح أختها أو خالتها أو خامسة في عدتها لم يصح سواء كان الطلاق رجعيا أو بائنا. We already covered this. If a man divorces a woman and then marries her sister, her aunt, or a 5th wife, while the divorced woman is still in her iddah, his new marriage is invalid whether the divorce is finalized or not. His new marriage is invalid whether the divorce is finalized or not. So he had 4 wives, he divorced one of them, the divorce was finalized, was not finalized. Hanbalis don't care about whether it was finalized or finalized. In both cases, he cannot get married to another woman until that woman, her iddah expires. Malikis and Shafi'i said if the divorce was finalized, he could go out and get married to another woman. Hanbalis and Hanafis said no, you cannot. So that brings us to the end of the chapter on al-Muharramat for nikah, or women that are not permissible to marry. There are 2 types of them. There are permanent prohibitions, there are temporary prohibitions. There are 4 causes for the permanent prohibitions. 1, consanguinity and nasab. 2, marriage, al-musahara. 3, breastfeeding, al-rada'. 4, li'an, mutual invocation of curses. The temporary prohibitions, 5 causes for temporary prohibitions. The iddah for the woman and the iddah of the wife for the man. These are 2 causes. Disbelief, no chastity, or like lack of chastity, would be 3 and 4. And the number 5 is forbidden co-wifery. As we said, you cannot combine between a woman and another one who would have not been halal for her to marry had she been a boy or had she been a man. And quickly, we did take the index case last time as a woman. Let me take the index case this time as a man, so that you would have had the 2 diagrams in your mind. So this man, this is his father, this is his mother, this is his grandfather, okay, he's married to this woman. They have boys and girls. His parents also had another daughter and another boy. Daughter had a boy and a girl, which is his sister had a boy and a girl, and then anything like this, and then his wife was married to another man, and she had a boy and a girl, and his wife had a father and a mother, and okay, and this one here, so this is his father. His father had a brother and a sister. Sister had her own kids. The brother had his own kids. And then the same applies here as well. Okay, and let us say his grandfather, the parents of his grandfather, they had also these are the parents of his grandfather. So this would be the aunt of his father, right? This is the aunt of his father, and this is the aunt of his father. This is the index case. This is the index case. This is the father of the index case. This is the grandfather of the index case. Okay? This is the great-grandfather of the index case. The great-grandfather of the father of the index case had 3 kids. This is the sister of his grandfather. She is the paternal aunt of his father. Okay. It's much easier to do it this way than the other way, because the other one was just like, everything you have to flip it. حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم, you have to flip it. So this one here, حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم وأخواتكم وعماتكم وخالاتكم وبنات الأخ وبنات الأخت. Can we find them? Yeah. حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم. Yes.
Just a clarification, the index case, he's married to the woman, right?
He's married to this woman.
Yeah, how's that woman married to another guy?
Ex, so, yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Dotted line.
he didn't say it's her brother.
Yeah. So, حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم, where is his mother? He can't marry this one. بناتكم, where is أمهاتكم means what? And this one as well. And this one as well. And this one as well. All these are his mothers. Okay, وبناتكم, your daughters, who's forbidden? This one is forbidden. This one is forbidden. This one is forbidden. Any female progeny, forbidden, whether she can inherit or not, forbidden. أخواتكم, this one is forbidden. أخواتكم means 3 أخوات, means the full, the paternal and the maternal. So this is a full because she is the daughter of his father and mother. But if we presume that his father married another woman, well, actually, we need to make his father marry another woman. In this case, it doesn't have to be dotted. Who said dotted? So I'm just going to keep it undotted here. Let's say his father married another woman. Okay. And then they had a boy and a girl. Okay. They had a boy and a girl. Okay. So, okay, so this one is forbidden. That is his paternal sister, right? Let's say his mother married another man. It has to be dotted here, right? And they had together a boy and a girl. this woman is forbidden. So 3 sisters here. In addition to each one, the milk sister. But we're not putting the milk thing here because we don't want to confound it anymore. So, أمهاتكم وأخواتكم وعماتكم وخالاتكم وبنات الأخ وبنات الأخت وعماتكم وخالاتكم. Who are عماته here? Who are his paternal aunts here? Wait a second. This is his father, right? This is his grandfather. This is his paternal aunt, okay. Paternal aunt. Now, we said anything that comes from the progeny or the progeny of the siblings, the arrow does not end. It goes all. When it comes to the paternal aunt, what about this? No, this is halal. What about this? It is halal. Okay, it's just the paternal aunt. So ammatukum is this paternal aunt. Who else is ammatukum?
Grandfather, sister.
Yes, this is ammatukum as well. Because ammatukum is your paternal aunts and the paternal aunts of any of your ancestors. Ammat abik, ammat jaddik, the paternal aunt of your father, the paternal aunt of your grandfather, the paternal aunt of your great-grandfather. All of them are haram to marry. What about their children? No, they are not haram to marry. They're not haram to marry, okay? So, وَخَالَاتُكُمْ, where is خَالَاتُكُمْ here? Okay, this is his mother. This is the, okay. So this would be khalatukum. This is halal or haram? Halal, because it is his cousin. Okay. Yeah. And khalatukum, the same when it comes to ammatukum, the maternal aunt of any of your ancestors. The maternal aunts of any of your ancestors, that is your parents on either side. All maternal aunts up there are haram for you to marry. Now, وَبَنَاتُ الْأَخِ وَبَنَاتُ الْأُخْتِ, these are your nieces, whether they are the children of your brothers or the children of your sisters. So this is his sister, and this is his brother. This is halal, haram. This and anything down here, anything down here, any women that are coming down from the brother or the sister would be haram to marry. That's بنات الأخوة. وأمهاتكم التي أرضعنكم وأخواتكم من الرضاعة. We will not talk about this now. وأمهات نسائكم. We're not talking about the breastfeeding now. وأمهات نسائكم. Where is the mothers of your wives? Where is his wife? This is his wife. This one here, he cannot marry. And he cannot marry Ummahat Nisaikum. He cannot marry the grandmother, and the great-grandmother, and the great-grand, etc., etc. وَرَبَائِبُكُمُ الَّتِي فِي حُجُورِكُم مِّن نِّسَائِكُمُ الَّتِي دَخَلْتُم بِهِنَّ. Where is his Rabiba? Where is his stepdaughter from his wife with which he had consummated the marriage? This one, right? He cannot marry this one. Now, when you are unable to marry a woman, will you be able to marry her mother? No, generally, except in certain cases. Because this woman here, you are unable to marry, but her mother is your wife, so you should be able to marry her. But you're unable to marry her daughter. You would not be able to marry her daughter. So, but generally speaking, until proven otherwise, you would not be able to marry her daughter.
Or after, even after, like her granddaughter, for example,
that daughter's kid.
Yes, you would not be able to marry descendants. So the Sheikh said, Or actually, we did not talk about this. إذن وربائبكم في حجوركم من نسائكم التي دخلتم بهن فإن لم تكونوا دخلتم بهن فلا جناح عليكم وحلائل أبنائكم الذين من أصلابكم. Now the wives of your sons that are from your loins. So this is his son. This is the wife of his son. This would be haram, right? Haram after his son consummates the marriage with her. As soon as they are contracted. The only one that is pending the consummation is one case only. If he marries a woman, her daughter will only become impermissible, which is the stepdaughter in this case, only becomes impermissible after he consummates the marriage with her mother. Okay. Then فإن تكون دخلت فرجون عليكم وحلائل أبنائكم الذين من أصلابكم وأن تجمعوا بين الأختين إلا ما قد سلف. أن تجمعوا بين الأختين إلا ما قد سلف. This is the combining, and this is a different thing, which is a temporary prohibition, not a permanent prohibition. What about where is this? Is this halal or haram?
No, this is okay.
Okay, this is a cousin?
That's a cousin, yeah.
Okay. What about this woman here? Who's this woman? Oh, see, we didn't remember this woman. وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا مَا نَكَحَ آبَاؤُكُم مِّن النِّسَاءِ إِلَّا مَا قَدْ سَلَفَ. This is, don't marry the women that your fathers had married except that which had happened in the past. Not meaning that your father married and divorced, it means that before Islam, But, a woman that your father marries is forbidden to you permanently. That is called your stepmother, right? Yeah, stepmother. Where is his mother-in-law? Did we mark his mother-in-law? Oh, this. His mother-in-law is this. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Are we done? Is everybody marked? Is every woman here marked? Yeah, I guess there are no women here. Come here. That's it. And this chapter was just like too big to finish in one session, but alhamdulillah we were able to finish it in 2 sessions, but we have still time. So we will give some time for people to leave, and then we will have plenty of time for questions and answers, comments, objections, istidrakat. Okay.